there's a direct line from any bit of, everything good things that happen to me, I can trace it all back to AMP.
There's not a working band around the city that doesn't have a few AMP members in it, and I'm sure they work a lot better because of that, you know.
But the sense of achievement of learning it and learning how to read music and how to transpose and how to write music was just an amazing feeling of achievement.
It's the stepping stone that a musician requires.
But personally, I love seeing people grow. I think from the minute they come in the door, from the minute they come into their interview, absolutely, you know, as nervous, shaking, sweating, like nearly ready for tears when they come into that short, brief interview audition. And for 12 months later to see them up on a main stage in Galway City. I could cry. It's an emotional journey for everybody.
Skills I've developed since starting the course is like the actual practical side of playing music and learning and being able to like write songs and put them together. Then there's the group and element of being able to meet new people, the society element of you know, being able to see how what we create and what we learn about can be relevant in the outside world, because it's for people who see music as a profession and not a pastime. And this course is the ideal kind of foundation of being able to get that understanding.
But I never knew how to read music, play piano, and since I've come here like 3-4 months ago now, I feel already like I'm kind of twice the musician I was coming in, and that's only a quarter way into the year.
Take off your mask.
What was the most rewarding aspect of AMP? Well, playing with other people, because it's hard to do. It was nice to have the opportunity to play with other people who were writing their own stuff, and it wasn't just being in a covers band. But I think the biggest thing for me was that all the tutors in there are professional musicians making a living out of it some way. Another thing that one of last year's students had said to me actually summed it up really well, was that it legitimised music as a career for him, because before that he just felt he felt very self-conscious about it, or this isn't a real thing because other people don't think it's a real thing, but he was on AMP and it legitimised it for him, and I felt the same way as well. He really summed it up really well.
You've nothing left to lose. I didn't really believe I was a musician when I started. You know, I was very much a hobbyist, and I suppose when I started the course I felt that for me personally it was something good to do, to kind of get into music. I've always loved music since I was very young, and I've always wanted to play something but just never had the time or the patience, I suppose. So it was something that I just wanted to do, first of all personally, but I thought then as well that it might be useful working with young people and teenagers in my work. So it was kind of more of a thing that I'd upskill myself as well, you know. There was never any feeling that you weren't good enough or that what you had to input wasn't good enough, you know. It was a very, as I said, it was a very supportive environment, but the people would encourage you, they would give you, you know, constructive criticism, they would help you work on aspects of your music. The tutors were all extremely supportive, and it just gives you the space, I think, in there to actually to work on your music for a year. For someone like me that's starting off, that's really important, but I think even for someone who's been playing a long time, that might have been doing part-time jobs on the side, that might have been doing other ways to get an income, just to have that space to work on their music for a year and to just focus on that, I think really is invaluable, you know.
I knew I could sing, but I had no experience performing. I had no idea how to work with other musicians. I'd never been in a band as a teenager or even been at a jam. So learning how to communicate with other musicians was like learning a whole another language. And then I learned so much in that year that I've been able to really go on and develop more. And I suppose it took actually a couple of years for all that learning that I did in the year in AMP to really settle and crystallise, and I've gone on to continue studying with our voice teacher Michael Durham, and I did my grade 6 exam, and I'm going to be doing my grade 8 in the summertime, and joined a choir, and I'm in number of bands that I absolutely would not have been capable of being in had I not learned all of that I learned in AMP.
With Daddy and Mammy standing by her side.
The all community employment schemes about 3 or 4 years ago suffered a massive cut in funding to the level of 66%, which is just outrageous, you know. So up until that time, we sort of ticked along, survived quite nicely, but obviously the board of management and the participants would always have to fundraise for that. That was sustainable to us, but unfortunately with that 66% cut, we suffered dramatically. We've had some positive signs from the Department of Social Protection, but we're still in doubt as to what the future is right now for AMP. But I believe that it's such a positive project that it should be certainly supported by both the government and by Galway City.
No comparison really. Live music is, you know, I think, and 97 or 8% of people that come to Galway, I think that's what they're looking for. There was some survey done, and I think Galway is as good as you nearly get in the country for sure. You know, behind obviously the big ones, Dublin and stuff, but other than that, we have a great reputation in Galway for the variety and the choice of music, live music. People can't get over it, you know. So many pubs and places and shows to go to, and any night from Monday to Sunday, you know. So it's fantastic.
Sorrow.
But on a wider level, it also makes me a bit despondent or a bit miserable, because I think it says something really depressing about the value of art in society, and the growth and the personal growth and the musical development that's afforded by AMP. The exponential benefit of those people going back into their communities, while hard to quantify, is of massive economic value. And I think it's sad that people don't see that investing in people and investing in arts is important.
All right. And all the fellas go. All right now. Ah! I think the girls are women then. I'm out of it now. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. I was very well informed.
What would the closure of AMP mean to Galway? Well, it would not be good. It's a great way to meet people. I don't know, you could probably pick most bands around the city and someone in the band is an AMP or was on AMP, or they got started through AMP or AMP. It's a huge thing in Galway that people don't really know about. Most people around Galway don't even know it exists unless you're a musician, and then you're either really glad you've been on it or you're trying to get into it at some point. No, it would not be good for Galway's for music around Galway. No, it's a great course.
I think if I'm closed, I think it's a real loss, you know. And personally, it makes me feel really sad actually to think of it not being there, you know. I'd hate not knowing that it's not there, you know. I mean, I think one of the great things about AMP as well is once you join, whether you like it or not, you're part of the community. People pop in all the time, you know. I still try and get in as much as I can, and you make connections with people, you make networks with people for the AMP sessions that they generally organise every year. It's a chance for people to kind of come together again and see what's going on, and you know, partnerships come out of that, friendships come out of that. So I'd be really sad if anything, if it was to close up.
Speaking to a couple of guys who I would have known beforehand, some that were not even musicians, they got involved, got a passion, loved it, and joined up, and even like one of the local ones I've played there, Fling, say for instance, they came together through the Accent Music Project, and musicians have ventured down the sound engineering route to widen their opportunities for jobs and what have you, so they can do a bit of engineering. They're still a musician, they can be part of a group, you know, to wear a lot of hats. You know, there's other guys who are even doing a little bit of photography and videography, so like, you know, one-stop shop or being able to do those jobs with so much going on is always a bonus and a plus, and it's because of Accent Music Project and like-minded people like that has given these opportunities to these people that would, I don't know what they'd be doing otherwise.
If AMP was to close, it would have a really detrimental impact on the musical culture of Galway. Well, at least in one way, the quality of the music wouldn't be as good, but a lot of the best musicians in Galway have been in AMP, and the quality of the tuition you get in AMP has huge benefits in terms of your ability to perform music, but also to compose music. It'd be very hard to break into the Galway music scene if you didn't have any contact with it or any connection to it, if you were just relying on publicans to give you a chance. But that network of support that AMP provides makes it much easier to achieve a desire to be in the music industry in Galway.
It'd really it'd get to me, it'd get to anyone who knew what they actually did here. Like anyone who was here long enough to see just how beneficial this is to professional musicians, it'd be kind of shocking to them that they'd let it close down, you know, or be underfunded or not taken care of, because it's a big deal. It's the stepping stone that a musician requires.
I think it'd be an absolute shame. If you'd asked me that a year ago and I wasn't doing this course, I'd be like, oh, whatever. It's impossible to actually know what this course is like unless you take place in it. And if it was to stop, I think it'd be a crying shame. I mean, like what it does for musicians, and in turn then what it does for Galway, for Ireland. I mean, music is a massive part of Ireland. I mean, tourists, everything. I mean, it's a massive part of our culture. It's ridiculous that it's not funded from some body. I don't know where it would come from, but I think if it was to stop, it'd be an absolute shame. I think it's as important as any other course out there, if not more.
I don't know, it's just a very positive, life-changing experience for everybody. It has changed people's lives, and again, I'm very privileged to be part of that process. I think the skills and the personal journeys, that cliche, but it is a journey for the 12 months that people are here. It's not easy. It's not for the faint-hearted. You want to be dedicated to music. You'd want to be passionate about it. And through that passion, you see that growth in the individual.